Welcome to another BeoTalk number 331. Uh, yeah, it's getting more insane by the week. As per usual, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It's free, doesn't cost you anything, but helps the channel out and keeps the YouTube gods off our back, I guess. Let's do it the opposite way today. If you haven't yet and want to stay in the loop, come and join our Discord. It's where everything happens and you'll be the first to know about most things. Not necessarily B&O related, but if you have any sort of problem, collectively we can solve it. I think we're up to almost 1,200 members now, which is pretty insane. So thank everybody for joining. If you want to boost the server, we're good for now, but do it if you feel like helping that out. Then we have wrong button. Go to Skinny Play if you want one of these covers for any of your B&O. Use the promo code to get 10% off. It's I guess Year of the Snake or something. But if you don't want that, there's tons of choices, and you can always make your own, which is nice. And as you can see, the promo code gives you a bigger discount than they have on the website currently. No. Sandeep says the Discord server customer numbers are growing faster than B&Os. Yeah, that's true. It's that's one thing. Oh, and I need to pull this up. If you want some of these, I have a reference link for Tegrino Studios as well. Wait, your properties should be good now. Could you place
Yeah, I
that?
haven't said anything anyway, so
Oh,
you didn't miss much. Not yet.
interesting. I wonder what happened.
I don't know, the freaking OBS or whatever, the default nonsense as usual.
Well, it happened on the other side too, apparently.
Mm.
Yeah, we're still on Twitch for some reason. I guess it ingrained. But yeah, we'll get into the straight aluminium because there's literally not a piece of plastic on these. We went
The
over it
Tegrino
last.
stuff?
Yeah, we went over it last week with Anders, but like.
Well, now you had a whole.
They're over here now, testing that sort of thing. Yeah, I'll make a video on it soon. Life got a bit in the way last week. Sick for like 2.5 days. I guess I ate something that disagreed with me. Yeah, so oh well, it happens. But how was your week? Oh, hold on. It muted itself again. What the actual?
Why is it muted? Is it good now?
Yeah, it's good now. How was your week?
It was not eventful. Nothing really. I booked a flight to Calgary, and I guess I don't know if I should call it a personal victory, but definitely the straw had finally that was the last straw that finally had broken the camel's back with our nonsensical persistence of Eero network in the showroom, because it is fucking unbelievable. It's just unbelievable, and I said, like, I can't. I refuse to help with this because you can't just help. You know, this is what we're doing is insane. It's literally classified as insanity. You're trying to the same thing, expecting a different result all the time, and there is no different result. It's just fucking not working. So unfortunately, I'm leaving Wednesday, and the guy is supposed to come in from whoever from a Ubiquity to like look at it to do an assessment. And I don't care if the guys hire, like if we hire as a store another IP company that just sets our network up to our requirements and standards, and then we just go in and implement the gear. I have no problems with that if the guys are so scared of doing that. But the time has come where you cannot avoid network, and you can't just piss about, especially in the big installations and setups, and places like our store where you have 80 devices on one access point, more or less, right? Which is a lot. Not a lot for a commercial thing, but it's a lot for the fucking Eero, man. Especially when like it does all this reporting back to Amazon of all the traffic that's happening and what's playing on what, and blah blah blah. Because I'm certain that they are monitoring this nonsense. So,
Yeah,
and
even
also
the
there's a
pro
lot of
ubiquity stuff.
communications.
The
But
pro
there's a lot of comms if you look at monitor on the gateway and how much shit is just spewing between the products all the way to, because everything goes to add product.bang and Olufsen the bang-olufsen.com. So it all goes to so everything has to go out of the shop into the mothership to check upon itself and tell it what it's playing or whatever the state of it's doing, and check for software update every 10 minutes or whatever it does. So there's so much traffic that these little goofy apartment made for a studio apartment or 2-bedroom apartment like I have, that you cannot possibly get into that amount of devices with that amount of traffic on it. It's not suitable for what we're doing. So, and finally, so that's my personal win. And other than that, I gutted a BeoVision Avant 55 4 parts because it came in from it's just done, right? So, but the video board is okay on it still, believe it or not. So I'm gonna keep all the parts. I brought the display home too. Fuck.
nice.
I'm saving the display with the whole PIM module and everything. I love that TV, man. Avant is one of my favorites, and I guess it's more or less sentimental because that was like the big days of B&O for me when I was doing really well before the accident and all that shit went down. So there's a lot of nostalgia in that little TV. But yeah, other than that, not much, man. Not much happened at all. I saw the video on YouTube with the I forget
Ifixit.
the Ifixit guy that basically took apart the
Beoplay 11s.
or Beoplay 11s, I guess. I kind of, like I said, I had a feeling because when I looked at them in the shop, I'm like, how do you get into these with not a screw and it's not a pop seal? It's all sealed, glued, right? Because they want to make them IP standard, or to meet the IP standard, they have to be glued. So based on like looking at what this is, a lot of it is either if it's going to be a replacement module or are they claiming that the battery is going to be interchangeable, it is not serviceable in our store. We don't have, unless we have to buy, which then it's not worth it for, maybe like 10 or 15 pairs that will fix in the long run, to buy like a $900 jig to take the headphone apart or the earbud apart. So I think these are going to be exchange module, and we're going to probably end up sending them back to, I don't know, where in Chicago or New York or wherever the heck they do the master collection of all the North American stuff and repair it. But I don't.
Wait, don't you have to send it to Germany? I think there's like one in Germany.
No, North America has its own.
I mean, have you looked in the store yet and to see if on the Beoplay 11 the literal outside?
I know that says EX. I honestly didn't notice. I should look.
Because that's quite something, right?
Somebody forgot to change the sticker belt in the machine.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is fixable, but you would need a whole bunch of new tools like that pin solder gun and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could. I wouldn't say it's designed to.
I think it's designed to be said that it's possible to do if you hell and high water it. But I don't think that you can get inside these things without noticeable damage around the seams. With the prying tools, no matter how soft the material is, like you will mark the shit out of the headphones.
Yeah, or
And
you'll
if you
go
do the
through
divots
prying
inside,
tools.
like, is it gonna be? Yeah, but if you then do divots on it, is it gonna be just as smooth and comfortable in your ear when you have all these, bent plastic rigids sticking out of the earbud? So I don't know. I really don't believe that this is gonna be fixable.
Yeah, especially with the glue. What is it? Since you have to like warm it up.
Max is a good point. Water resistance will likely be fucked as well as after opening them up. That's what I'm saying. Like they would always, if there's a way to change the battery, I think that the only way that you can change the battery is that you actually get a replacement chassis and you harvest the actual electronics out of the existing earbud. You put it into the new one with the battery. You seal it shut with brand new fresh glue or whatever is there, and then poof, and that's it. I think that would be that would be the only way. But yeah, Steve, you have a good point. I forgot to mention that because it was set in there as well that you should be able to replace the batteries without using heating tools. Which, in that point, in my opinion, there is no way you can design a lock and latch system on that scale, rigid enough that would seal. And then, if you needed to click open and pull out, what would you call it? A quintuple A, for God's sakes? Like, what battery would you run into the earbuds? Unless you run like those what is it, LR14s or whatever, like this, right?
Yeah.
That would be the only way, and that's about the size of a. Let me grab a bloody H11 here or H10s. So yeah, like this. If we come to think of it, would be something that maybe a twist cover that poof poof. That would logically be an option.
It seems like you would have to have leads or like metal clamping, and that the battery, if you want to keep it watertight, let's say, would be in a separate compartment almost from the rest of the electronics, right?
Yeah, but you don't have a lot of dance floor to move around within that headphone or
I
earbud,
know,
right?
but meaning earbuds will get quite a bit bigger if batteries must be replaceable, and if you want to keep that watertight seal.
We're going back to the E8 Sport or whatever. These big knobs on the it look like you have tumors on your ears, a cauliflower ear.
Well,
But
I
those two,
mean,
they probably easier serviceable than the E11s.
I mean, these you can almost see the where you could twist the top off almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if that was some sort of clicking mechanism.
Just a click and lock,
Yeah.
lock down.
I mean, because
I
I
don't
think my
see-
E8s are quite comfortable, quite honestly. So, but I guess they'll need to be bigger, or the battery needs to be smaller.
Yeah, but when you make a smaller battery, then you can't claim as much hours out of it, right? No matter how much the efficiency you can jack out of the boards and stuff, there is
Yeah.
a limit to how little power they will use before they don't work. But I don't see. I guess if it comes down to taking the direction to comply with I don't think it's a nonsensical rule. I think it's a really good rule. I think the EU. I'm very grateful for them with the whole USB-C nonsense, right?
Yeah.
To Apple, it's nonsense, but it makes so much sense to everybody because now we can all be friends. Fuck, we can all have one connector to charge, and I'm waiting for my girlfriend to update her phone. So
Well, Apple
the
was just
new iPhone is gonna
dicking
be
us around, right? Because I have
well.
an iPod Pro over there from, what, 2019, 2020, something like that, and that had USB-C. It just, the phones didn't. So you would always have to carry two charger cords for some reason.
Yeah, no, it's silly. It's absolutely silly. So see, like him just detaching that already, like you see that the ear canal thing is squished.
Pretty
So that
mangled,
needs to be
yeah.
fixed. Yeah, that's not repairable, more or less. Or you stick a pencil in it to round it out. But yeah, that's I like that they took it to the level with the CT scan and everything. Like you can see where the microphones are and all this shit. Like these guys don't piss around. Like, kudos to you for doing that. Even though I guess to some it's disappointing to see that that's just what it is. But I really am not surprised. I
Look,
am not surprised.
they do the same with iPhones and any sort of phone where the manufacturer doesn't give you the repair manual, right? Because somehow in the US that's a thing where like you're not really sort of allowed to fix your own stuff for some reason.
Yeah, but a lot of people have a tendency to just grab a butter knife and fucking go inside something, right? And then it's too late.
Sure, but these people, Ifixit. I love these guys. They also sell toolkits if you want to like do little shit like this yourself. So go buy one. But because they have like torque zero and that sort of thing, right? They have the most insane little tools that companies tend to use these days, where it's like this one-off connector for this one specific thing, and it's just all in this little case that you can buy off of them.
Milwaukee actually made a screwdriver like that with 32 bits in it.
Yeah, but does it go to like torque zero? And
I think so. Fuck, it goes to stuff that I can't see with my naked eye. I'll show you. Because I'm blind as a bat, I guess. Sorry, 27 and 1. So that being the thickest Phillips bit on it. And then it goes to like super small.
yeah.
Like, look at this one. Like, that's pretty tight. So yeah, this one, and it actually, what I don't yeah, it does have it. They're all security locks too. Okay, you see that. So there's a slight little hole inside the torque.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, these are cool. So that's what I call my little buddy backup.
Let's stay on this topic for a little bit. But yeah, like I quite like, I understand where people go like, oh, I could have used them, but like if you're a repair company, third party, you gotta essentially have the budget to destroy something, right? To know how to fix it properly the next time, especially if you don't have manuals.
I think what the only thing that to make them back to the factory spec is to replace both shells. Because look, like you have to use alcohol to rip out that goofy ass battery and desolder it. So only the electronics are worth the value, in my opinion. The rest needs to be basically bought as an empty hollow chassis, and you just reassemble it with the existing electronics from the client's old headphone.
Oh, for sure, but we didn't know that until because B&O told us like this was replaceable, right? And it's, I guess technically maybe, but like,
well, it's doable.
Really.
But I've grown very suspicious of this statement the minute that they have announced that they are doing it, and no video was posted on the internal how to actually do it, right?
Sure,
because there's
you
a
know
technical
that we as customers
video.
don't.
So I kind of had a feeling, but I'm not going to throw them under a bus till it comes up, till somebody else drives it. And yeah, these guys prove my point. It's just that this is not an easy repair. It's fucking doable, but this is not something that you're gonna be having fun doing before your lunch break starts.
Quite honestly, I would almost say that the battery replacement is just a replacement one. Not the battery, like the whole thing just gets replaced.
What do you mean?
Like if your battery dies or your battery life within warranty goes to shit, right? And you send them in, they'll just send you a new pair. Like they don't actually replace the batteries on your pair.
Maybe what they'll do, they'll have replacement earbuds that you can order on ROS, that, if the right is messed, then you order a right earbud in that specific color, right? Because that's another problem with the earbuds, that how many generations of colors are you going to have and what is going to be available? Are you going to have one red and one blue because the red one is discontinued now?
Yeah.
So those are the things that I would like to know. But I don't think that this is this claim holds any weight and value as far as like easy battery replacement. There's no way.
Well, I don't think they ever claimed easy, but I don't think this is repairable, to put it that way. And I literally think it's more a warranty thing where we'll just send you a new one.
Yeah, but this is repair on a scale that you literally have to have almost a microscope.
Yeah, and I don't even think their repair techs are good enough to do that. It's just too small, right?
So
Like, and what's the point of replacing like the battery if you also then have to remove or replace the entire shell? I mean, and
so
I don't know. Replacing the batteries to claim like ultra wideband for the eights.
mm.
It's just not really a thing, but it looks better.
Steve has a good point. You know, it is important to be able to remove batteries from earbuds prior to disposal, even if the battery won't be replaced. Put them back to service. Batteries explode in recycling centers are nasty. Yes, but how many people that like I'm conscious of it. I don't know many people that are conscious just throwing double A's into the garbage and that's the end of it. You know, I think the problem is still with education of people what this does.
I have yet to find a place that will accept that batteries here. Like in
Fire
Europe,
department.
like even
I
for
don't know if it's in Florida, but I know that we would any batteries. We have well, I can't say for here. I know that there's a company here like that comes and picks up all of our shit that we gather from clients. Like if we have like let's say a pallet worth of old TV stacked in the back,
yeah.
we make a phone call and somebody comes in and they hover it up.
Yeah, I
So
mean, in Europe, most supermarkets just had like a bin, right, for batteries.
I think you can do it in Staples.
Maybe. I mean, the only thing I've found so far for like car batteries is like the a salvage yard, but or the what is it, the city dump. But like for me, those are like 30 minutes away, which is also kind of like for a double A. Am I really gonna drive an hour, right?
I know you can recycle paint to like fire departments and shit, like all the hazardous stuff. Like that in Alberta, I don't know how it works here. If you show up with the bucket of paint, they'll fucking take your temperature and send you back home.
Probably, yeah.
But I know back in Alberta, you could anything. You could bring batteries there too. They recycle all this hazardous stuff. I don't know where. They probably have a contract. Somebody picks it up afterwards.
I redid my whole closet and I actually found an old phone where the battery had exploded, like an iPhone 4 that was just literally like that.
Oh fuck!
Like it
That
hadn't.
could have ended
Yeah,
differently.
yeah, I know. Like,
Jesus.
like, why is stuff so sticky in here? And then, like, you get to the phone, it's like, hey, this cover kit. Ooh, the whole phone, like the glass is
Oh,
literally like.
Yeah, I've taken out batteries out of all of my old phones that I could. I need to take one off that Lumigon because I don't fucking trust it now. Yeah, that's another thing. You never know how long and what's the ticking time bomb. That was a problem with the Beosound moments too. The battery swelling up and the remember that? I
Yeah,
had to change mine.
mine
And
is
they're
still
scary
doing
because they're
good
like
for some reason.
bendy. Like it's not like your double A or 9 volt or whatever
Yeah.
you're used to this rigid stuff. Like these batteries seem to be very flimsy, and if you give them too much, I guess you can crack and short something, and then you have a serious issue on your hands.
It's funny though, even on the ribbon cable here, it also says Beoplay EX still on there.
They've added microphones to the board. That's it.
So it's, yeah, it's.
To me, I think that was already the board itself was designed prior to 11's coming out, and they just soldered on the mics as extra and did the mold improvements to it and different tuning or whatnot, like change something algorithmically in it.
I mean, the 11s apparently so are the Beolit 20s of the Beolit range, where they're identical 17s essentially, other than you have a Qi charger on top.
Yeah, these have extra microphones. That's about it.
So, yeah. I mean, but it does take away a bit of uh, the price increase compared to like AirPods, right? Because AirPods are half the price. And if you say, well, these last as long, twice as long because you can replace the battery, and it's kind of like, not really.
Yeah. No.
Like, and I fully accept that these sound better than AirPods, but AirPods Pros, they don't sound bad, and for in ears, they're mostly fine. And it's just like it becomes very hard for me anyway, personally, also since I'm not into in-ears, like, and I'm not talking about the wired in-ears high-end stuff, right? But like the wireless in-ear stuff. Like, how do you justify this at this point compared to Apple?
Other than acoustically, you don't. Or do
I mean,
you?
it's slightly different if you have an Android phone, but if you have an Apple phone and or
It's
an
a much
iPad,
smoother
yeah,
experience with the Apple environment. Yes, I understand. I like with the Samsung that I have. I'm on Android. I've been on Android for ever since. I've never owned an iPhone essentially, and these like the EXs per se are the one of the first ones that I never had issues with, like connectivity wise.
yeah,
By the way, has anybody tried to connect two pairs of Bluetooth headphones into an LG panel?
I sure haven't.
Somebody in the chat. I'm gonna try it out because we had this question by a lady that was shopping around, and then I haven't had a chance, but I figured I'd ask.
Uh, let's answer Mr. Sushil quite. He asked, I'm downsizing house, selling my Beolab 20s. Would you recommend 8s for front and 2-speaker shape as rears, or 8s as rears? 8 all around. That's
right.
Easy answer for me.
Easier to move, and quite honestly, like if you consider the shape to get the same sound out of it that the eights have, you might as well just get the eights because you would need 1 amp with 4 speaker tiles.
At least, yeah.
To keep it up with it.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure you do in the bass department.
Thanks, Marius. No, you can use 2 headphones on an LG panel, correct?
Yeah.
That we understand one another. Okay.
What do you guys think of the bass for 8s connecting to the theater? Recommend 19 with it. Recommend is a strong word. In a bigger space, I would have a preference for it, but it's not like you're lacking bass, right? It's also how much do you care about 20 to 30 hertz? Because that's essentially what you would be doing a 19 for. I mean, granted, It's at a higher output. So it's a preference. Like, are you downsizing to an apartment? Are the walls kind of shitty? Then I wouldn't necessarily recommend a 19, even though it's better than a 2 for that sort of thing.
Yes.
I mean, the bass on 8s is quite incredible, really.
Honestly, like I've played around, and I didn't tell the guys, but I did a stereo preset in our theater because we have now a theater set up with 2 pairs of 8s.
Yeah.
Via digital power link. Works phenomenal so far. And I also set up them as just a stereo.
Yeah.
But I signed the left and right on the theater as a subwoofers, and that helps. So it depends. Like if you want to listen to music, you can utilize your theater drivers as the subs for your 8s, or just have them play purely. But I think 2.1 is much better than 2.0, and that's what I would go with. I 19. If I were to get a 19, I would probably put it with the rear speakers, not the fronts, because the theater on its own has enough power. It's not 19 power, but if you put the 19 in the back, the way that it evens out the room on the bass line acoustically, it's just perfect. I've done it with the 11 in my old studio apartment because 19 was just gonna be OP, and it was way too deep in the storage. So
that was more of the issue.
That was I never even brought it up because I forgot that I had it. It was so fucking far back. So yeah, but now like I have a 19 with the Avant in the bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Quite honestly, that I don't think like it does. You can definitely hear the difference, but would I really like? Could I have not? Yes, I could have not done that, right? Because I really, for those 15 to 20 minutes that I'm up or my eyes are open while I go to bed, that subwoofer is not going to change my life. But I like the look of it. So there's another reason to it as well. If you like the look of it, I have an 11 with on the back of the 90s with the 18s. It's not powered because what's the point? But it looks nice, so it's just there as a, it's just a token of B&O.
Look, this room is not big
Homage to
enough
David
to,
Lewis.
to need a 19, right? And I've been pondering selling it, but it looks too nice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like, well, but then what do I do? Do I want something else again?
So, but yeah, like Michael Christensen says, he agrees with me on the setup. Put the 19 in the back. I understand, it's a common. Would it be a habit, Mikey? You would say that now, or just the default that everybody refers to the point of like if you do a sub, you have to put it on either a left or a right side of the TV, but you can't put it into the back. The fuck is going on outside? But you can't put it like you shouldn't be putting the subwoofer in the back. But with the theater and you run the tune, man. Once the microphone figures out the room pretty good as far as the algos inside the theater are, and you're set, man. It's much better with the subwoofer in the rear than in the front or on the side of it.
Yeah, it's God, yeah. I think a theater gives you very different audio perspective than most receivers do.
Oh yeah,
Because it is so versatile, and you're essentially running the Dolby logic with B&O's logic, and B&O's logic is so loose in a sense that you can put whatever wherever, and that is really quite something. I mean, if you like it for looks up front, if you want to look at your 19 all the time, there's nothing wrong with putting it up front.
no.
But it also very much is kind of room dependent. Like, I don't know if you saw Andrew's last video during the week where he went over small room setups and whatnot. And what I particularly enjoyed about that video is him being adamant that you should not put your couch up against the wall if you can avoid it, especially if you have something behind you like a speaker.
But that's also not even a habit. But like if you live in a small European apartment, usually you put the shit against the wall, right? I don't know.
Even in large places, people tend to do this.
Yes, in my house in Auburn Bay when I lived with my mom, yeah, we did have the couch. There was nowhere else to put it because it was a big couch from the old big house and it was a smaller house, so we did have to have it against the wall. But it was still okay because you could sit far enough that you had the speaker somewhat behind you, so there is that effect still.
Oh, he wasn't saying like put your couch literally in the middle, but like, I don't know,
No,
have 40, 50 centimeters of space, right? Like 2 feet or something is already better than no feet.
I agree. I definitely, for me here also, like the living room doesn't really make sense other than the fact for one person that I live in this apartment, right? I sit in this chair, which is turned backwards towards the fucking table and the bench. But that's more or less my Lego building area, which I'll get into once I come back from Calgary, I think.
But even in
And
a smaller European, like I've had friends where their living room is like 3.5 by 5 or something like that, right? Like the couch is up against the wall. Like, why is it not like 3 meters away and have 50 centimeters behind the couch? Because for like surround, it makes such a big difference. If you only have front facing speakers, sure, whatever. It doesn't really matter anymore. But if you have anything coming from behind you, like that bit of space actually...
it buys a lot of effect room to it. Yeah, it gives you a nice effect.
Plus, even with like 3.5 meters, if you're 50 centimeters from the wall, you're still 3 meters from your TV. And you need quite a decent sized TV for that to be in a correct sort of aspect ratio.
Yeah, David, I think the robo vacuum has now come to who said somebody was it? Yeah, Michael. Yeah, he got his 19 banged up by the robot vacuum. That's one of the reasons why I still haven't decided to go ahead with this, because like, yeah, I guess I would have to do like no-go zones around the B&O, right? Like, and especially now that they can hop over like almost inch and a half of an obstacle, so they would crawl up on the on the 18-foot. There's a lot of stuff that these things would do damage to if I were to just leave it roaming around. So that's why I'm kind of just gonna do it by hand.
By the
And be in
way,
control.
any other tips when setting up a 19 with the theater? Yeah, set everything to factory. If it's wiser, right? Like set everything to 0 and like just till the sliders and stuff are in a normal position. You don't need to put
There
anything
is
like
hold
in
on.
wall or anything like set
Put it
to
all to freestanding.
yeah
The sub has to be in freestanding.
set the phase to 0. Set the gain to 0, or where like you feel it like in the middle, right, where it's sort of you have that notch when you turn that little dial.
Where is this? I'm gonna try to see if I can find it.
Mate of mine
That there is.
made little plinths for his 90s. They're like 2 inches thick, so his 90s sit like 2 inches off the floor. And he took the same outline as the speaker, so it literally blends in. So like with vacuuming, you can like literally do all that, or have a robot vacuum, and if it bumps into anything, it bumps into a plinth, not into the speaker.
Oh, so you make a whole bunch of stuff around it. Okay, I found the document because
Well, it's literally the same outline, right? It's sort of that triangle thing the 90s have. He has 50s as well, and it's also sort of the different sort of 50 triangle. He made a plinth for that. Like if you look down, you don't see it. Like it's perfectly aligned with the outer edges.
But it's just so it doesn't bump to the shit. Yeah, that's one of those things that I'm still.
He also has kids and cars, right? Like, and they go places, and so if I don't know, like you like, Daddy, look. Like it doesn't go into your speaker; it goes into a plinth.
I'm trying to find a document where it says like the correct setup of the Beolab 19 with the theater. Fuck, cannot see it anywhere. Somewhere in here, I'll find it and I'll share the screen so we can see it. But somewhere in here I know there is a document that was issued out regarding. I don't know if we have it actually on the Discord. I think we do. I might have posted it there a while back in the documentation, but I don't see. One thing that really pisses me off lately is that I have to re-log in every time I'm trying to use the home control on my theater and the Avant. It used to work okay, at least on the V1, but now the Avant always asks to re-log in. And I changed the password to 4 zeros because I'm not gonna go in with the Beo remote one, like fucking, whatever. Who's gonna log into my shit? So
Willie is the greatest tech since 1985.
Exclamation mark! You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here! I just need 1, 2, 3, 4. Invalid password. Call this. What do you mean invalid password? It's 4 zeros. Delete. Go back. 0, 0, 0, 0. Done. Wrong password. Tabarnak. And you just start yelling at Google and shit. See, piss me off.
I heard you threatened me. I do not respond to threats.
Call 911. Oh, what the fuck? Start running after it. Freaking turn off the network into the house.
Our data shows your threats are illegal in this country.
All documentation. Let's go see here somewhere in here. Come on. I think to find it.
Christianse put a link in the chat. Is that the correct one? Could possibly be it.
I think it's in a technical sound guide. Yes, it might be. Let me see. I don't know if the technical sound guide, it talks about it somewhere here, I think. There we go. Page 19 on the technical sound guide. if you want to pull it up. It does actually talk about both. Thanks, brother. It actually talks about both the Beolab 2 and the Beolab 19. So if you want to go ahead and share the screen, I'm going to make me another coffee.
Page 19
of the document.
There we go. It's 18 for me for some reason.
It's metric. in metric, it's 18.
Yeah, so this is essentially it. Low pass filter off, gain to 0, phase 0, freestanding. The wired or wireless is that it doesn't have to be wired if you want to do it wirelessly.
Exactly. That's the only switch that really depends on your setup.
Yeah, and then if it's wired, it probably needs to be LR, right? Instead of left or right.
Yes.
I mean, I guess you could if you have two of them. You can make it a left or a right.
Yeah, you could do that. Just have a power link splitter, but that still makes no difference, in my opinion. That switch, because at that point, even if you split the power link with an RJ45 box, and you assign one subwoofer to be left and one right, that switch is obsolete. This is more or less for, I think, third-party systems. If you have a line-in RCA going in, and you can just tell it that this is the left side subwoofer and this is the right side subwoofer, and that's it.
What would you, for the Beolab 2, what would you set the 1, 2, 3 to?
I would leave it at 1. Because that's full tits.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Hmm.
What do you mean it doesn't matter, Steve? It's the I guess it doesn't, because you're not using the outputs. Yes, the 1, 2, 3 is the crossover for the out. Very good point, bro. So for you only give a shit for the in and freestanding. Because nothing's gonna be coming out of that subwoofer, because it's a subwoofer, right? Like, you're gonna have your whatever front speakers connected to a different power link socket on the theater per se.
Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I always thought this changed the output of the sub a little bit. But I may be remembering it wrong.
It changes the crossovers, how that behaves. So at 1, it's for the Beolab 1, so it goes more. I think it's also the ABL that it affects, because if you put it to number 3, it's supposed to be with the Lab 3s and Beolab 4s and 4000s. But yeah, you can cook the 3s. You can cook the tweeters on the 3s on that preset as well. But that sub is way too much power for the Beolab 3 system as they used to be anyways. I've replaced so many tweeters over time because people cook the piss out of them listening to music.
Like and subscribe.
I have one specific client that I'm not gonna say the name, but yeah, it's gotten to the point where, like, he bought, I think, 6 or whatever that comes in box of tweeters, and I had one that actually
just
did
have
it also
spares because it's gonna happen again.
Oh yeah, but he learned how to take it apart by then, right? So, and I showed him, here, this is how you do it. Bought six tweeters, and I think it was like a year and a half later, he finally decided, you know what, let's just get lap 20s. I'm like, good for you. You had finally understood that you're not gonna win with these little speakers. So
yeah, it's yeah. Anyway,
So-
it's like adding a 19 to a theater. It's just like set everything to default. That's essentially it.
yeah,
And 8s don't have the switch, so there's nothing to worry about.
just run their own compensation before you run them with the theater. But I would also recommend, as far as the theater and the subwoofer relation goes, before you go into, let's say you don't have enough bass where you are, before you go in there and start diddling and fiddling with the gain and crossover on on the subwoofer, I would first go to the theater and the speaker preset selections where you are. Here, maybe it's better if I show it on screen. How about that? B&O app. 1 second. Start. There we go.
Oh, you mean the redirection levels and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I'll show that because sometimes people have no or a little understanding of it. No, click the freaking wrong arrow. Okay, so there we are. So I don't have a subwoofer in this setup, but if we go to surround per se and go to speakers, I don't understand why these are still missing icons. But before you do anything and going into the sub, go in here and just change the redirection levels on your theater, and also go down to the bass management, and I would suggest to cross that over to 80 hertz because that matches the 80 hertz on the subwoofer.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. And what else is there? These don't have redirection level really. They're always at 0, and I don't think they make any difference because they're very dinky and small speakers.
Yeah,
But,
you're not going to get much out of them.
But for like the sake of, let's say, stereo, you can have your 8s, like I said, as front and front left and front right. Let's disregard that these are 90s, but your 8s. And then you can go to your left front firing and assign it as a subwoofer center. I don't know what else it has for other speaker roles. Okay, so they moved it. That makes total sense now. Down. Okay, so you can actually do the subwoofer left and right. That is cool.
And
So,
rear, right?
No, there's no more rear.
Huh.
Yeah, this one is the center. Okay, so we all learned something new today, that you can either, or let's just put it to none. So, but anyways, you can put this as a subwoofer left and subwoofer right for your stereo quote unquote systems setup, and make sure that your redirections are always, well, don't ignore these because I've had tuned the speakers and these are fixed on it's different here, so don't take this for an example, but just keep them at 0. Keep the redirection at 0. I know that Jeff says, like, if you reduce everything by 5, then reduce everything by 5. But if you want to do that, or remember the values, otherwise just go in and create a duplicate copy of it, and go from there and put it all to zeros and play with it and see what it sounds like.
Yeah, also, it's your system. Like, these are just B&O suggestions, right? Like, if you don't like it, then change it by all means. It's
every steakhouse makes the steak a little bit different, even though it's the same meat.
Yeah. I mean, if you're, for whatever reason, like an extreme bass head or treble head, go for it. That's why it's there, right? Like, in the end, B&O doesn't really care as long as you use their stuff.
Exactly. So one thing that I don't like is this remote control.
Yeah, it's not great.
Well, it fucks you for the Avant or all the other products because you need the buttons here in order to get into the sub menus. Or like, my home menu is a red button. Where do you have a red button in here? So this really rendered this useless as far as the remote control. For this, it's okay because you can just navigate and go back home, whatever your music is here, and which still missing the tune-in radio. I don't understand why it's not there. And yeah,
is Tidal there?
No, it's not. That's what I'm saying. The Tidal.
Oh, you said tune-in.
No, sorry, no, the Tidal. I meant Tidal. Sorry.
We're so integrated with Tidal that we can't find it.
Yeah, so that's it. All right, I can shut this down. so we can move on with our life. Hopefully that helps y'all. And after room compensation has been done on the Beolab 2s, should then change them back to the actual position. Thanks. No, you leave them where you leave them always in freestanding. You don't put them back because you basically negated everything you just did with the microphone.
Yeah.
Just leave them at freestanding, and the reason why, because that's their most capable potential. And the theater knows, if you tell it that it's lap twos, it knows exactly what that speaker is capable of doing and what it's supposed to sound like based on the triangulation settings. It know what it's supposed to sound like, even if it's in that particular corner or whatever. So I would not mess with any other presets. I wouldn't. Once you run the tune, try not to move the speaker more than 10 to 15 centimeters away from where they were originally tuned. If you're doing the dusting or whatever, make sure that you put them essentially more or less on the exact same spot.
I would almost say, like, if you move them that much, retune them. It doesn't take that long.
Yeah, but that's a bitch with the fucking microphone cable and peeling off the grill and whatever else have you. But yeah.
Yeah, but if it's
or
just
get 90s and you can't move them at all, and you just mop and fucking get on your knees and do it by hand underneath them. There's always that. Or 50s, you're not moving the 50s.
You just I have actually. I've like slightly towed them in and that sort of thing, and I just retune them.
Well, yeah, but you don't do it every day.
No,
not every time you clean. Like, it's just it's unrealistic.
It's one of those things.
But
if people have questions, I'm more than willing to answer just about whatever. Leave a like and subscribe if you have a question.
Yeah, why not? It just helps everybody else to find us and nerd out together on Sundays.
Yeah, like
so
bloody X-rays of Beoplay 11s.
That's so sexy. You know, why the fuck doesn't B&O do that? Remember the back in the day when we was kids and the Beolab 8000s were cool, and they had like the X-ray poster of they had hired, I think it was a specific artist that they hired that would X-ray the speaker in different stages of assembly, more or less, and then put them overlaid together, and then you could see basically the entire speaker inside, which was really cool. But we don't do that no more.
Max asks, same as Andrew, what do you want to see most from B&O in 2025? Well, one of the issues with that is whether it's feasible or not, right? Because can I just throw anything out there? Because if it's that, Beolab Century, new flagship.
I would probably more be inclined for a Beosystem Century, something that can connect up to, let's say 16 speakers, 8 power links, or maybe that's too many, so let's do 4 power link cables and a couple, digital power link capability on it with a nice touchscreen display, possibly, something that doesn't retain fingerprints much, like maybe a matte finish or like silk finish on the screen, which then it kind of doesn't make it look as expensive, I guess. But I would wish for something that is actually a music streamer, a center, a home hub for your music. And also a hard drive capability in it.
Yeah. I would like that. I mean, one of the reasons why I would like a new flagship is to stop this nonsense of the price increases. It's just like, God, make a new flagship that's ridiculously expensive, right? Right from the get-go. Make it 250 grand. Who cares? Like, make it low volume. Make it, if you want to have the really, really high end, do something like that. That's fine with me.
Make 100 speakers, sell them for $500,000 each. Fuck that. There's your 100th
anniversary. Even that, fine. Totally okay with that. If you
sold a CD player with 28s for 3 times the price, for God's sakes, you can definitely sell speakers that expensive.
Yeah. I mean, another thing I would like to see is an updated stage of some sort. I don't think it's a good idea to have a sub out because doesn't really make sense in terms of price, and especially where the price is for a Beolab 19 and they have nothing else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if it becomes a sub out, then they will need to make a new sub. Somebody was commenting on that they wanted the stage to have a sub out that was like line control. And while I understand the sentiment, it's essentially saying we made this sub out so you could buy a different brand subwoofer. Because there's no way you're going to spend $2,500 and then $4,500 on a 19. That makes no sense.
No, it does not.
So I think Weisse is not going away, but it's becoming less prominent, and there's no Mozart-based sub. So I guess I wouldn't mind if they made a new sub. I would be okay with that. I would want it bigger than the 19, like bigger drivers. But a 19 is still excellent. My Finnish friend tested the 2 and the 19 with room EQ, and the 2 literally goes, and the 19 goes like it's dead
surgical,
at like 10, and then it ramps up to 18, and it just stays flat until 200. Which is nice, but I would
Beolab 2s all over the place.
Yeah, I think it's like plus 60B at like 38 hertz or something like that.
Yeah, because the passive radiators, they just have no control over that. They just do their own thing.
It's very impactful for movies. Don't get me wrong, I still love it too.
Oh,
but
fuck. Like when there is an explosion with the lap 2, you know the shit blew up.
Yeah. I mean, I would like them to use like the 10-inch drivers of the 50s, for instance. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
You can do a sort of different design with that. Have Notto do it. I mean, they make...
If they're going to come up with the sub, there's definitely going to be a Mozart chip in it.
Yeah.
Or at least a somewhat of a rendition of it. Maybe, a vanilla, chip that doesn't do anything but DPL, so you can actually pair it to the theater.
A Mozart receiver, if you will.
Yeah.
I would like a new stage because I want the contour to keep on living.
Yeah, Contour is a nice TV.
I wouldn't mind an updated Harmony. I think with their 8s is about as cheap as they're going to go for speakers. As in Beolab speakers. So I don't thinking of getting anything cheaper than that is just, it's not going to happen. I mean, I wanted to, but it's just not, right?
What do you think about Emerge? Do you think the Emerge, because the black is disco, right? So now we got only the gold, which is going to go up again. Do you see that come out in different colors? Do you think they're going to play with that, or they're just going to disco that too, and basically you start with a level or an A5?
Start with a level or an A5, quite honestly.
Right?
I mean, they may make something else, but like I don't think you can get that enthusiasm for it started, really.
See ya, Michael. Marky Maestro, I guess the chat's going too quick here. Willie, you showed all the bespoke metals last week, and fabrics, and woods.
Oh!
How often do customers actually ask something like that? I want Beolab 8s in that specific color. Not often, but there is instances, like I've done a bespoke contour, but nothing special about it other than the front grille. It was anthracite walnut, so it was bespoke in that way. And prices are coming up tomorrow, and so as
call your dealer now if you want to order something for today's prices, because tomorrow they're up.
Chief and Commander starts tomorrow.
No, we announced this 2 weeks ago or something, and I kind of forgot about it because like I already I did what I had to.
He already panicked out. Mike is done panicking. It's your turn now, people. But yeah, tomorrow I think is when the poo hits the proverbial fan hard.
Yeah, what is it?
So
50s are going up 10%, 20s are going up, 90s are going up 20%. Some things are not going up, but if you want something for current prices, if you're dilly-dallying about 50s today, and you want them new,
they'll be gone tomorrow.
well, in this country anyway, they're going up $6,000. Like, they're going to be $65,000 more or less. Like, holy
that's
shit.
Insane. I'm trying to find...
Dealers are closed now, but if you have your... Look, if you have a friendly relationship with your dealer, right? Like, you have his
they'll
personal...
still be able to swing it.
Yeah. Just call them, email them. Everybody looks at their email all day long.
I can't seem to find...
And your dealer will be happy you called him on a Sunday for once. Because it's not like, oh, my shit stopped working. It's like, no, I want to give you money. Please.
Yeah, I know. They can still honor the price. And most likely, it's not like gas, that everything goes up. Like, they still have whatever stock they have is in stock. But yeah, they're 150k pounds now. They were 60 back in the day. Doesn't make you feel good, Max, that you have a set and you're looking at them and they go fucking
that's
more
other
in
Max.
Price than
this Max
doesn't.
It's
the other Max. Oh, you don't have them. So sorry, buddy. But yeah, you should have gotten them when they were 60, I guess, because they've gone up. They've gone up tragically.
After tomorrow, the price rises will end for like 6 months. I don't think that's the answer you're looking for, but are the 8s going up? I'm not 100% sure. I think they may have not this round, but they could be.
I can't find. I had the detail of the pricing. I don't know what fucking channel or text message this could buried in. It's somewhere. I'm not gonna waste time on the stream here now, but I know it's somewhere in there. I'm trying to find it on the Beo News, but I don't see anything about price increasing here.
But yeah, like the...
Oh, priceless update. There we go.
Where is it? Speakers. Come on with your menus. Like the the website is as slow as the app sometimes.
Yeah, this isn't.
That something just got up is not a claim of anything. They're 150 grand now, so they'll be what, 180 USD?
The 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll be what in Canadian, like 225,000 or something? Fuck me.
Right.
Oh, in
yeah,
Denmark,
they're a better investment.
Mark says 8 are going up 17% in Denmark.
Shiitake mushroom. That's a lot.
I mean, relatively, it's less, obviously, because they're not as expensive. But, like, as a percentage, Jesus Christ. I mean, this is also partially why I want them to build a new flagship, right? Like, stop this nonsense. Like, this is insane.
Yeah, you're asking 3 times the price of what they used to be, almost 3 times the price what the speaker used to be 10 years ago when it came out.
Yeah, and that's not all parts and manufacturing and that sort of shit.
No fucking way. That no way. There's no way. They just ask for it because they can.
Yeah, but
if that speaker costs them in absolute manufacturing bulk per cost, if that speaker costs them 10 grand, including getting that custom chassis built, it's too much already.
Yeah.
100%.
Though they have about 10 grand of drivers in there.
Well, then call it 15, 20. 20 G's now.
Yeah. Who knows why they keep on increasing these prices? I think they're thinking currently, and they have been quite open about it, is that more expensive is more exclusive. Which is... If that were really the thing, right? like, why did you not just make the 8-10 grand from the get-go?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't understand why you do it like this. It's annoying, if anything.
I guess it feels good to the first adopters that yes, you went through the bullshit labor pain, major pain, and delivery pain, and software pain, and app pain. So you get rewarded by the fact that 3 years from now, when you actually have the speakers working properly, they are $5,000 cheaper than what you would have paid for them now, essentially, when you got them. So
yeah, I don't like this. Like, if the price goes up once a year, okay, not a huge
I could
fan
get
of it.
that was always like that, though. It was always around January, February, the prices would go up. There was a store demo sale, and after that the prices would usually get reviewed to go up, or they would go up in September, essentially somewhere around that time. But it never was like that. The fuck now, like quarterly almost, or biannually at least.
It seems every somewhere between 4 to 6 months that it, on average, stuff rises somewhere between 3 and 15%. And that's insane. That makes no sense. Like,
What's the reason? Like,
well,
I don't
also,
understand
why
what the
that
reason is.
often? Like, it's annoying for everybody. I bet you dealers are annoyed with it because it's, if nothing else, like, you can't have stickers on anything anymore of prices, right? Like, or you have to reprint everything every 3 to 6 months. But at that point, you might as well not. But then, like, if somebody asks you, like, what do they cost? And, like, you have to go, well, I have to look that up. It's like, what do you mean you don't know?
Well, it fucking goes up and down like a Bitcoin. See, that's the problem.
But
And
it
like
never
all the
goes
catalogs.
down.
Oh, it never goes down. Well, Bitcoin still goes up. It goes down a little bit, but you don't see that. But yeah, like in the catalogs. Let's see if we can do that together. There is no pricing anywhere. I don't know how. This is more or less the latest one. There is no pricing anywhere.
Not even in the way back?
In the way back, you get extraordinary accessories, and that's it. Then you have the architectural speakers, which is the palatials, crafted for generations. Somehow, or for some reason, they showed the top cap of the. That better be the Beolab 9, Beolab 8 table cover, table stand. And then Dream It, You Build It. So that's the bespoke that they address a little bit, and then that's it. Just nonsense.
I mean, I did get the suggestion in my email for, like, Christmas to buy a set of 50s for my loved one.
Well, why not, right?
I mean, it's just like, you have 2 sets, right? You could get another one for the missus in another room.
Fuck, like, where do you put that? Call STB to make you a ceiling brackets for me.
Yeah, it's all a bit nuts. I don't understand this, why it must be this way, but apparently it must. It's beyond my comprehension in terms of, like, I just don't get it. It's annoying, if nothing else. I guess it does make us buy a bunch of stuff. I guess.
I think it's a closing hook tactics, and what they figured out, I guess, because I'm sure that they have some metrics that they go off of that allows them to do this in, let's call it a rational manner, right? Which is to them, not to us. But
Yeah.
the way I see it, we have a lot of, yes, we do have repeat clients. But the people that repeat clients, it's either they buy something and they come back within a year or a few months to like finish the system because like, okay, you were right, we should get that too, right? And then they don't buy anything for a while. Or you have people that are brand new to it. They have no idea that these speakers were fucking 8 grand. Now they're 10, 15 or 10, 500, right? They have no idea what they cost last year because they've never even heard of the brand. But now they like the speakers, boom, and there I go installing it. So I understand where they go because now you already spend that money, and then the salesman calls you. It's like, hey, bro, there's, you were talking about the core and whatever that you wanted to get for yourself, and Well, now you wanted to wait. You should get it now because the shit's going up. Fuck, January 20th now, right? By 10%. So, I can only do that for so long before I have to give it to you for a new price. And people usually, okay, you know what, come on, I can just close the deal here by card number or whatever. You already have it anyways. Just charge it, fucking bring it over. You guys are blowing me away. You've never seen a paper copy catalog of B&O?
One somewhere.
Well, you know what? If you guys want, whoever wants one, email me, and if you pay for the shipping, I will get you one. I'll send you one out for your collection. How about that?
Where the hell did I put mine?
So you don't have shit talking all that game, bro.
No, it's literally in a B&O bag. But I don't know where I put the bag.
So
I mean, there's also wall brackets in there for a remote, so
you better find it. But yeah, no, B&O doesn't do it as it used to do it with the B&O magazine. That was cool back in the day. But now it's just, there's the product collection catalogs that dealers have if they do have it. Here, sometimes, unfortunately, they get thrown away because they're in English. And here it's the French part of the country. So they just cannot, legally, they cannot hand that out. It's what it is, which is bizarre. But that's the world we live in. Pretty good job on that butcher block bracket. It's fucking hilarious. You should have drilled a hole through it so the cable's hidden.
oh, I still can.
But they're going on the wall anyways after you're done playing with them. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is literally just for review, so that I can like move them and like have a filmable stereo separation with the stereo mic, right? And stuff like that. Because if where they're potentially going to go in the living room, there is like one is going to be way over there and then over there, so it's like
no way.
Yeah, the stereo image is going to be really fucked up, but it's going to be perfect for movies. I mean, and I must say, this cover is goddamn sexy. Like, even the picture here doesn't really do it justice.
How elegant it is.
Yeah. It's, I mean, it's very soft in all sorts of light. It's really, really nice. It's, I'm very, very happy that Tegrino makes these, because it's really something B&O should have made. Like, I don't understand how this was not a thing they haven't made or haven't released yet.
I don't understand that either.
I mean, if it was B&O, though, it would be the same price, but these slats would be metal on the plastic backing. And this is all metal. This is one piece. There's not a single piece of plastic on it.
I wonder if they refrain from doing it because of the effects that it might possibly have on the Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi reception, Bluetooth.
I've yet to experience any, and this particular bit of wall is a sort of internet dead zone. It's not like dead, but it's not great, and it's very low reception, and they keep on being stereo paired just fine. They play
well, if
fine.
you have the one that you're pointing at being the primary, then the secondary doesn't matter because he connects to him. So as long as one of them is properly on the network, you're set.
Yeah, but this whole wall is kind of iffy, right? Because there's a closet right there with a bunch of stuff in. The AP is in the living room, and then there's two cupboards and a refrigerator on the other side. And they're
maybe you should take the skeletons out of that closet, bro.
Oh, that's where all the cutlery and plates and shit are.
Well, that's good for Wi-Fi.
Well, but that's why I'm testing it here, right? Like, like if there was anything this aluminium cover would do in terms of network, it would be here. I mean, I guess I can stand with one in my garden or something, but I'm gonna have
that's ridiculous.
Long extension cords and shit, and walk around like an eighth. It's like...
My neighbor stopped talking to me.
Yeah. But yeah, this I wasn't into the anthracite until I saw this cover.
Mm.
Quite honestly, because I don't have anything else anthracite.
No, you don't.
And I think actually because of how nicely this aluminium is done, it'll blend in just fine.
It negates the anthracite completely and from the front
Yeah.
because it's only an outline of it, which is pretty cool.
I mean, and I could have gone for the other colors like the red or whatever, but that's not really me. I mean,
That looks cool as fuck, though.
I
I
mean,
would have the red one in my office with the computer speakers or as
oh
computer
yeah.
speakers.
I mean, the silver on silver is a bit too much for me, though it looks quite nice on the gold version.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you kind of need that that contrast.
Yeah, silver on silver is very bland. It almost looks like a kitchen appliance of some sort.
Yeah. By the way, the link in chat is 10% off on each item. We don't get any kickbacks. It's just a link for you guys. I mean, they were sent for review, but I'm not paid anything for my opinion. Just like for full clarification, I just realized it seems like with me link spamming, it seems a bit like advertising, but it's truly not.
We don't make shit off of this channel.
I mean, honestly, I saw this before because who was it?
Somebody popped it up on Discord, I think. That's where it started.
Was it KCBR or David?
I think so. One of them popped it on, and I'm
and
like,
this was months ago. And...
But no, they fuck. I wish they do them for the theater.
Yeah, if we can email them because they're thinking about it from what they said, but obviously they need to know a sort of minimum takeaway or a minimum sort of sale they can think of. Am I planning to restore Super Chat? Yeah, at some point. Just have to figure it out.
But yeah, well, it wasn't KCBR, but somebody popped it on the Discord, and then yeah, it just took off. And no, they look really sexy. Everybody was skeptical in the beginning. I even showed it to Kareem. He's like, "Oh fuck, bro, you're gonna trust this Chinese stuff, man? I don't know."
God, the aluminium
pretty fucking legit, bro. It looks pretty legit, and then you guys got it, and it's exactly what it looks like, if not better than the pictures.
It is better. Like even the pegs on the end, right, are aluminium machined out of a single piece. Like this whole thing is a single piece. Even the push pins are the same piece of aluminium block that it's CNC'd out of. I would almost say that the anodizing is too perfect compared to B&O, which is
really?
crazy thing to say. Because it's like, it's thick, it's smooth, like there's no ridges, no nothing. It's so smooth. There's literally no texture to it. It almost feels like a polished car, if you know that feeling, right? Like a cleanly painted car that is not polished has a very different feel than when it's like all waxed and stuff.
Yes.
It's kind of that difference. And it's very slight, and you only really see it up close. But like, dear God, they knocked this out of the park in terms of manufacturing. I mean, yes, I know it's a bit expensive, but not compared to what you get from B&O. I mean, the woods covers are, I think, are like 1,400 euro or something for a set for the oak, but it's wooden slats on the plastic backer. Whereas this is like one piece of metal. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's very well done. I haven't seen it in real life, but man, it looks really good. I did find a part number for the Beosound level walnut grill.
Yeah.
It actually is a part of B&O's thing you can order.
Here you can
So for
sort of see it in the picture here, right? Like if you look at the slats, like how smooth they are.
hmm
Like it's as smooth as this like inner cut edge.
it looks sweet.
I mean, I like the black on black or anthracite on anthracite.
See, that's the thing that you're starting to dig yourself a hole you can go deeper and deeper into, right? Because, oh, well, why don't I just get the silver ones and the black and the red ones? Might as well, right?
But isn't that how we end up with this much shit anyway?
Yeah. I wish they did the halo in a silk ring. That would be cool.
I mean, Ed asks, how do the covers age with time? I don't know what you mean. I mean, they're fully sealed because they're anodized. Like the back thing that last week we thought was plastic is black anodized metal. So like I think they anodized it 2 or 3 times at least.
They have to, yeah.
And I think they first anodize it black and then go over it with the CNC machine again and then clear anodize it.
Yeah, Matthew's right. We were gonna do a bespoke group by a silk halo, remember? Yeah, I remember now. We should revisit that.
I mean, if you want the cover of your 8 to be silver, I think the silver and black also looks quite good.
hmm I would love to get the grills, like just to swap the walnut for a while for like the aluminium ones.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would look like a buck-toothed horse with all that aluminium in there, like it looks like it's braces. But I don't know how they would do it. They can't do it the same way they did the eights, because that's a large slab of aluminium they would have to 3D mill out of, first of all. Second of all, you kind of sort of have to have it bendable to get it into the spot. So
Isn't the Ferrari grill metal?
yes,
Yes, but it's a very different color. Also, Sandy don't do bulk discount. Well, they sort of do, right? And the thing is, if you order 10x of the same custom color, the price comes down.
if it's worth for them to do it to run it through the anodizing plant, they'll do it. That's the whole thing.
Well, I asked a long time ago about a silk halo, and I think they said, I have to look back, but I think it was something like at the time it was like 12 or 1300 euro for one, but if you order 10 of them, it was like 100 euro less, 150 euro less, or something like that.
Which makes sense. At least they give you a deal, not like on the website, buy one A5 or buy two A5 for the same price as two is.
Yeah, I mean, I asked about it, and then I think, God, only like the minimum order, I think we set at 10, and only something like 6 people agreed to it. Like, and I love you all, but I'm not going to cover you on the price difference.
No fucking way. That's a lot of money, bro. But yeah, we should. I'll inquire about it to see what it would take. But I guess now with the bespoke program, anybody can order whatever the fuck they want, as long as they pay the premium for it.
I somehow lost, by the way, the install book of the 8s. It's somewhere in a box. But one of the quirks with setting up the 8s, and I told you about it, right, is that you get in the main box of the 8s, you get a little like pamphlet and like scan this QR code for setup, and there's a link. But
yeah,
both take you to the fucking homepage of B&O. I tried on my phone. I tried through the camera app, and I tried typing out the link. All you do is just get to the homepage of B&O. I then went to my computer, thinking like maybe it's my phone doing something weird, right? No, it's the homepage of B&O.
That's so weird. So it's not really a helpful link then, as
No.
far as the QR code.
And then, like, I just decided, like, you know how you can, like, look on the product page and it's all the way down, and sometimes it's there?
Hmm.
It's not there either.
Okay.
I mean, fortunately, it's fairly self-explanatory, but it's kind of insane if it's your first purchase.
Yeah.
Lead time on bespoke, it also very much depends on what you want bespoke and how.
Yeah. But it's about 4 months turnaround.
I mean, if it's a re-anodizing of something, it may be shorter. But if you want custom sails on your 90s, that's like a sewing job of a few weeks at least, right?
Well, I'm sure they have the templates. They just have to cut the fabric and glue and sew it together and whatever.
Yeah, but the top is like hand sewn, and like every stitch has to be perfect. And you need to, like, you can fucking specify the thread if you want to.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's pretty cool.
you can go a bit nuts with it all.
No, but I guess that's what makes it essentially yours, right? It's one of a
Yeah.
kind. Too bad you'll never see that reflect on your app, but that's a different story.
I mean, another quirk of setting up eights is to stereo. Well, everybody knows, hopefully knows this by now, is that to stereo pair them, you must do it wirelessly before you add an Ethernet cable.
Yeah, and lately with the new software, apparently there's a bug that they don't really like to be paired with an Ethernet cable to begin with, anyways. I had to disconnect our Ethernet cables from the ones that we have set up on the wall because the secondary would always fall off. I have no idea why. So I reset everything. But then again, it's all bane of our existence, which is the Eero crap network that's gonna be exchanged, and it's gonna fix the problems.
I was on
Once and for all.
Ubiquity when I had 28s, and they would stay paired for 4 or 5 days, and then one would fall off.
Yeah,
These
but
eights perfectly fine.
well, yeah, but also how much later in the software we are since the 28s you had, and you know how unstable they were with all that. What software was it? 2 point something even, if even.
God, I don't remember. I probably have screenshots of it somewhere because it got annoying.
There's been 23 software updates on the Beosound Theater as far as the Mozart platform is. So I counted the other day.
I mean, one thing another thing, right, that I would wish for this year to come is a Mark II or the upgrade to the 28s, where it's like glass on the top like that.
That should have been done a long time ago, in my opinion.
Because this
I don't think they're gonna
is
do
so
that.
much nicer to touch.
Oh, it's way more elegant. I don't think they're gonna do that because then what do you do with the older, people? Like, do you have an exchange program for the top caps now? Because people would, some care, some don't,
Yeah.
or it's a silent rollout. I think the silent rollout should be like Beolab 28 Mark II with the freaking top glass, and that's it. Because they're basically taking that more or less from the Beosound 2 top, right? It's the
Yeah.
same plastic nonsense, but I don't like it.
Though the 28s in the beginning had something I never saw on twos, and that's some delamination,
Yes.
which I have never seen on twos on any variant. But somehow the early 28s had it a bit. But yeah, I
So,
mean, touching the glass is really nice.
yeah, it's much more premium feel to it. That's 100%.
I mean,
But
I am surprised at like how much bass they produce, quite honestly.
I was gonna ask that. What do you think? Comparatively, like from what you remember, the 28s to the 8s, if you have them on the regular volume, I think that it's an indistinguishable difference between those two.
They are less than the 28s. They're a bit less boomy.
Hmm.
But it's also a perceptible difference in how they put the bass tones out, where the 28s put them into the floor, and I think that's kind of how they put it into the air, right? Like by just amplifying it more. It's a
Hmm.
bigger driver. It's a 6.5-inch driver that creates quite a lot of pressure in that little cabinet.
Oh yeah.
Whereas these put the energy, like it's a 5.25-inch driver, so it puts, and it's front facing, so it puts it much more into the air. Funnily enough, like even on my sort of homemade little stands, right, because they're on wall brackets, they don't vibrate, they don't dance around really, and that is to me anyway. It sort of shows that it's efficiently putting the energy out of, instead of like a sort of pumping it through the chassis. Which is, I mean, I really like these 8s. I like more for my living situation than 28s. It's not really. It's also not a fair fight.
28s are more or less like 28s are, in my opinion, a front and center living room speaker. They're not something that you can just plop on your desk, or obviously.
Really?
Like, they're a floor stand living room speaker, or a wall bracket ones if you care for that. So yeah, it's a different animal altogether. But the 8s are, I'm very happy with them. They sound great, and yeah, they're more solid. But still, it's to play with the network, and I think that's another. It's the dangerous playing with fire, right? Because you never know what network you go into usually with people. So.
Marky says, I don't like volume touch control on the Beolab 8s compared to the level. With level volume response instantly, the 28 volume for a top class much less responsive. I think it's a wider arc. I know what you're saying, because I was more expecting it to be on the sort of realm of like the theater or the level for that matter, or 28s, where like your volume does that, so you have to, but it's quick, right? Where it's like
this one you can go 360 around. It's not just the LEDs.
Yeah, so but it's sizable, right? So like,
that's right.
Doing that, it is kind of instant, but
yeah, but that much distance you traveled with your finger on the level, you're going from 0 to 90%.
Yeah. So I get what you're saying, but it's also I'm getting used to it a bit as well, because I thought it would end where the dots end, but it doesn't.
No, it does not. It goes all the way around. So you can even do the volume on the bottom of edge of the speaker, more or less, of the circle, instead of just the top where the volume controls are.
Which is not that intuitive when you look at the top, but it...
No, but you can slide your finger underneath the My buttons and control the volume as well. Because so it's a different...
with the even with the 28s from memory, it ended sort of where the buttons were.
I don't think so. I don't remember. I think you can, if you keep it going, you can go all the way around. But you have to start at the volume, like on the volume thing.
I mean, another thing I don't remember from 28s, because it's been a while, but it's kind of funny to see that you can adjust the volume when they're off. When they're not playing anything, you can adjust volume and the lights still go up and down.
Yeah.
And it actually responds to if you immediately turn them on, then you can sort of override the standard
default start.
Yeah. And you see it do on both. As in, like, if I turn the volume down on this one, that one instantly goes with it.
Of course. Yeah. The boosters do the same.
Well, it's one of these things that's awesome but not needed, right? Because it could just power up and just take over and then like put the lights back.
No, but you can control the volume from the other speaker too.
But if nothing is playing, right, like just take over the volume settings from the master. It's kind of interesting that communication is still going when they're off. Like they're still sending like volume data to each other even when they're off.
They send a lot more than volume data if you look through the gateway on the monitor, how much they talk between one another, and that's probably not all the communication that the gateway actually shows, at least on my monitor. So yeah, there's a lot of chatter that goes between the products in the B&O's network link environment
Yeah.
per se.
Ed asks, what's the difference between the Beolab 8s and the Beosound Balance with sound? The Balance has two 5.25-inch drivers, has more power. It has a bigger bass hump as well. It's a bit more in your face. It's not as laid back. That's neither a good or a bad thing, right? It's more a preference. In terms of connecting it to anything, it's a Beosound. So you can now connect it to a theater if that's less stable, or if its stereo pairing is less stable. They kind of go, well, it's a Beosound, not a Beolab, which I don't fully agree with, but I've seen it happen where it's sort of like, well, this is not the priority, so it's more an extra feature than the bare minimum, like it is for a Beolab. 8s go louder in pretty much every way, but they do sound different. The Balance can quite literally do a wide with drivers, or all around, or just straight direct, or left right, whatever you choose. It's much more versatile in that sense. The 8s do wide on a DSP mode, which I actually think is the preferred listening mode for me. The direct DSP, it's not bad or anything. It's just there's more air to it. The wide is much more in line with older B&O speakers like 50s or 18s, and that's why I prefer it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you change the compression to uncompressed in the sound settings?
And that's partially why I was saying, like, it's fine in this network situation here. And that's why I was kind of surprised compared to, like, my previous experience with 28s. Like, even in a sort of the only shitty network area of my house. I mean, I'll make a full video on them soon, because I have to write down my thoughts a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very pleasant to listen to. I am having them in my house. I am very happy that these are essentially the successors of 17s, because they do, I think, outperform the 17s in several areas. And it's particularly normal use where they shine.
Mm-hmm.
Like normal listening volumes, it's a better curve to listen to. I mean, that doesn't make
they run the room sensing on their own, so there is obviously that plays into the algorithm of the DSP and so on and so forth, where 17s, freestanding corner or wall, and that's that.
Yeah, so I'm going to play with them a bit more. I'm going to compare them to 18s. It's that's partially why I'm here, right? Or why they're here in this room, because I'm not...
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather drag these little speakers around than the 18s.
100%.
So, I mean, there is that, but... I mean, at nearly half the price... God, they're good. I mean, the 18s still have the sexy, but... I mean,
18s or 28s, you mean?
No, like 8s versus 18s.
Mm.
Like, the 8s are nearly half the price of 18s, right? I mean, and with the price rises going as they're going, if the 8s don't keep up, pretty soon they'll be a third of the 28s. It's like, whew.
Yeah, I don't think that Beolab 18s are going to stay for much longer. I have a feeling that the Beolab 18s, because that's the only ones that, other than the 19, that is should we say, a thorn in the portfolio now, because they're non-Mozart platform-based speakers, and we don't have much other than Stage, which I'm sure is going to hit EOL pretty quick. and we completely move away from the ASC platform, which I think, and then for them it alleviates a lot more support responsibility for the older platforms because it's no longer it's
unify
discontinued.
the platform. It makes
So
so much sense in terms. Well, you don't really have to do anything with 18s really, because
no,
they're so dumb. They just always work, right?
yeah, but I don't think that they want the dumb speakers anymore. I think that they want that Mozart nonsense, everything in it, even if it's no UI on the speaker per se, which I don't think that we're ever going to go away from that. There's going to be some sort of a primitive interface on the speaker, be it as primitive as the Beolab 28 top or even the Beosound Emerge, where you just have left, right, play, stop.
I could potentially live with it if it was an aluminium on the back, like an A9.
What do you mean?
Like if you were to Mozartify the 18s, right?
Yes.
Have an interface like the back of the A9, like where you have the dots and the sliders. Have it on the back, but in the aluminium, not like it's a plastic protrusion.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, and have them basically lit up the same way like the logos on the eights and whatever, but through the micro laser drilling holes, whatever, and then just have, you could have the volume right by the lens that you can just go up and down with, play, stop, and my buttons.
But if you add any other sort of touchpad to 18s, yeah, forget it.
It'll ruin them.
Yeah,
it'll ruin the speaker.
So I mean, there is that, but yeah, it's hard to remove an icon, right? Like
it is.
It's.
But Sandeep has a good point that they're in no hurry to remove them from the portfolio. Surely they're such low maintenance; they keep making them. So
Marius says if they upgrade the 18s, what's the point of the 28s? Well, if they don't upgrade the drivers, it's still the pressure output and bass. Because
if the 18s get discoed, I think that they're gonna slot a speaker in portfolio that fits in between the 18s and the 50s, not versus 18s and 8s. I don't think they're gonna go in between that because the 18s and 8s are in normal listening volumes very, very close acoustically. Once you start driving one harder than the other, yes, the 8s will fall off faster on the bass response than the 28s, but even the 28s will fall off at higher volume. But that being said, progressively we're seeing that the 90s are becoming out of reach, completely out of reach. 50s are starting to become what the 90s were when they first came out. So crazy. I think that logically, if they have any sense, that they would make something that fits in between the 28s and call it Beolab 38 or whatever, and put it in between that. So that's my take. I don't think the 90s they're going to touch in any way, shape, or form. It's very hard, I think, in my opinion, to make a best speaker even better. Maybe,
I think you can make it DSP smaller, though.
Nowadays, you probably could.
I mean, because with different materials, right, you can get the same pressures just in a smaller footprint. And I think, quite honestly, that's for a lot of the time where B&O was like the king, right? Like, think of threes. Like, how much you got out of this little tiny fucking cube.
Like, yeah, threes, when I first heard them, it didn't make sense how they sounded. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they sort of looked the size of your, I don't know, PC speakers, right? And then you turn them on and it's like, whoa, what the hell?
22 years ago. Let's see. It's a long time.
So, yeah, I mean, you do get 7 more dB bass in 8s versus 18s at max, which is sizable. I mean, 90 dB is pretty darn near pain. I mean, the 104 and 107 respectively for pure pressure level, which is mostly mids and highs. You're not going to be listening to that in that volume. Maybe like a peak, but not continuously. That is and pain and hearing damage. mean, the 28s do, again, 5 more dB bass than even the 8s. So that's kind of what you're doing it for, right? So even if you were to Mozartify the 18s, I don't think you can get a 12 dB in bass with the same size drivers.
No, that cabinet is maxed out. That cabinet is maxed out.
I mean, yeah, they are in a prime location to put something between 28s and 50s and between 50s and 90s. And quite honestly,
so.
if they really want the very high net worth individual, right, and you're looking at the people that will buy like the Focal Grand Utopias, they're like 250, 300 grand. Why not put something above the 90s? If you really want these people that spend like $500,000 on speakers,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Surely you can go crazy in some sort of way.
I think the only way to improve it is just to have that DSP filter run even higher compensation frequency. You know, let's compensate it like theater to 10,000 hertz.
Yeah.
Or 15 kilohertz, like just to do the sweep from 20 or whatever 10 hertz to 20 to 15 or 20 kilohertz, and have that completely adjust the room. That's the only thing that I think you could improve upon.
But in many ways, the world's your oyster, right? When making a new flagship, because you can go extremely silly, like those enormous horn ones. So
yeah.
So like the size is not really the issue anymore, other than it needs to fit through a door.
Well, yeah, it's 32 inches is your limitation, because then you're basically limiting yourself to who can actually not just afford them, but afford to get them in the house.
Yeah, but like the way on the 90s, right? They have the 3 10 inches. Like you could potentially just make another row where you go all around with the 13 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and really have that like church organ experience where like you're in a, oh god, it was the Royal Albert Hall where they have that enormous organ. And I think once or twice a year they set that thing to 80% volume because it's too loud for the enormous hall it's in.
It's crazy.
And I think for, oh god, what's the guy Zimmer that does for like Inception and stuff? He gave a live orchestra thing, and that's one of the few times where they set that organ to 100%.
Holy fuck.
But yeah, why not make something like that for your house, right? Like make it crazy. Like at that point, it doesn't really matter if it makes sense, because like it doesn't make sense to spend that much on speakers. But the same is true for the Focals, right? Like the Grand Utopias. Like it doesn't make sense to spend that much on speakers, but people do it. And those are the people you want, apparently.
Well, that goes for everything. You know, it doesn't make sense to spend $200,000 on Patek Philippe watch where you can buy a Timex for, or Seiko for fucking $50 in retail store somewhere, and just it'll tell you the time the same way. You know what I mean?
I mean, with the 90s, you can easily go taller because they look big, but they're only about yay high. They're not very tall. Not really.
They could have got another foot on them, in my opinion, if they really wanted to, or they could have afforded to do another foot on them.
Yeah, and like you could even like bend it in or like play with
No,
that.
I wouldn't do that nonsense.
No, but it could be hidden behind fabric, right? Where you don't see it, that it's actually pointing sort of like where it's making that half moon crescent thing.
But they sound fucking great.
Oh, I'm not saying you necessarily improve the sound of like whatever sits above the 90s isn't necessarily any better. It may be more reference level. It may be louder even. Or the capability. It may be more gold.
I have no idea how would you improve upon those speakers at all. Like that's probably what Jeff Martin beats his head against the wall every day. How do you, if they are gonna give me the task of making a better speaker than the 90s, how do we go about that? And is it going to be the same rules where it's the sound comes first and design later? Or is it going to be now that we're going to give you a shape that you need to fit all this crazy nonsense into, or tech per se,
I,
right? Like, it's just because that was the only time that B&O had done it the other way, where the sound, where the look was designed around the sound and no impedance of it, right? Hence the sails and where all these things are situated, and where the heat grills are, because nothing has to go from the front, because the warm air rising will, I forget at what frequency it tilts it all by a half a dB. I don't even know how you can hear that other than with crazy instruments to measure this shit.
yeah.
But yeah, when you have that much heat rising, I don't think that half a dB at whatever hertz is going to make a difference, because you're cooking the heck out of them at that point.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just tossing 16-inch scan speak driver in the bottom, then three 13 inches above that, what is now, right? Then 5.25 inches that we see everywhere. Then maybe like a 3-inch, and then maybe two sets of tweeters where you make like essentially a 5-way digital speaker. You could go crazy, right? Because make the crossovers like the crossover points minuscule. Something like that.
Max, I hope you're right. He says, Billy, I bet that they started on a better 90s immediately after the 90s began. Those projects takes many years. Well, the 90s took about 8 years to develop. So, if they sipped on the champagne the entire 2015 and enjoyed the fruits of their production as far as the 90s, then yeah, maybe they have done something, or are doing something. And if they are doing something, they're doing it very, very well, as far as not being leaky about it at all. So I think it's just, where do you improve upon it? The only thing that I can see that they would improve upon it, if you make something that is something between the 50s and the 90s, that is a little bit more moving friendly, because this is a fucking event. Like, the 90s are an event. It's an event to listen to them, and it's a definite event to move them or unpack them or pack them or do anything with them. It is a fucking event. It's not one
Yeah.
person job.
Maybe they can do, God, what is it? Avant-Garde that does the split setup, right? Where you have this whole fucking closet that's your subwoofer, or like
Yes.
your bass port, right? And
Yes.
then you have like your mids and highs in a different column, but it acts as one.
But yeah, I don't know, man. It's such a hard nut to crack, and it's fun to speculate, honestly, but I just don't see them coming up with anything that is better than the 90s for quite some time. And I think for the 100th anniversary, they're probably going to come up, in my opinion, with some sort of a more magical of a soundbar than the theater was. That's my guess,
I hope so.
because that's where, at the end of the day, that's what sells now, man. The theaters sell a lot. We do a lot of theaters. We do a lot of eights, but the theater is the backbone start of everything. If you are doing a system, if you're buying a TV and you're considering a B&O system, you're buying a BeoConnect core with the eights or whatever. It's people that do that, then they eventually migrate into the Beolab or Beosound theater or Beovision theater.
I mean, I know this looks ridiculous, right? But people still buy it.
And they're fucking proud of it too.
Yeah, and they're ridiculously expensive. So there are ways where I'm not saying it necessarily needs to be better or anything, but I don't know, make
But
something.
that's so out of like B&O's design elements to do any of this absolute nonsense. Like, there's no way they.
But I'm
It's like,
sure in their genius brains there is a way to do this where it would be like, God, that's peak B&O. Like, God, I want this, but I'm not, I don't know, a billionaire yet. Or ever.
yeah, it's exactly. It's something that is definitely going to be out of reach. Well, the 90s are out of reach. Like, I would be never to be able to buy them now if I didn't buy them then.
Yeah.
And would I really have, being around B&O for so long, like, and if these speakers would basically, every time I would have more or less enough money to buy them, they would jump ahead by another 15-20%, right? So it's it's a game of chase that at some point you figure out, you know what, screw it, I'll just end up with the 50s. And that's something that
But 50 or 20% now is 30 grand, right? It's like, whoa.
exactly. But thinking of it now, like it's the same point that Andrew Robinson made, that are the 90s worth it? He can't really say because he hasn't listened to the 50s.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe that once you listen to the 50s and the capabilities that they have and how much more room friendly they are to move and so on and so forth, and you'll also see that in the installation when you don't have fucking 6 guys trying to muscle this Goliath into a fucking house on the slide it on carpets and muscle it in and make sure it's towed in, and these big coffin boxes and everything about them is just too much. Where 50s for a regular house, man, it's a very big. It almost doesn't make sense to go with the 90s. Now, I'm not saying that I went wrong or was wrong, but when I bought the 90s, 50s were probably just even on a bench as an idea.
Yeah.
So, and 50s, yeah, they might have a little bit more of a waft to it than the 90s. But again, 90s, my girlfriend thinks they're beautiful in white color. Everybody that came in here and seen them, they're blown away. Like, holy fuck, I've never seen them in the white color. I'm like, yeah, they're beautiful.
They're
in the
much
white color.
better in the lighter colors.
Yes, they're much more stomachable. They're not as dominant in the room. That's my point. Like, the darkest that I would ever go is forged iron gray.
Yes.
I would never, even though I have a spare set of black fabrics for these, I would not venture down that.
If I did your setup, right, like one chair, fuck off, no friends in my living room, I would be okay with the black ones. But since other people have to sit with me, yeah, black just doesn't work. Because I need a couch, I need other things, I need.
Yeah, but the black, the color of it is just too dominant. I've had the black ones to begin with, but I just, it was too much. It was way too much
I
for
also
what it
think
was.
in the black you lose some of the elegance of the shape, especially on the front sails where they concave a little bit.
Because they disappear into the fabric, the darkness of the fabric.
Yeah.
So that's that's the trick.
I mean, if
that's why.
Move your head slightly to the left. Because behind you can see on the 90 behind you can see sort of right against that wall where I don't know if people notice, but it's concave, the fabric.
They go this way, yeah. They also are a cone shape.
Like it's like the fabric isn't straight; it literally does that.
Yes, matches the chair perfectly, Willie. Thanks, buddy. Everything in this apartment was basically designed around B&O and certain color scheme, which is white and aluminium and walnut. And
Same.
you're talking to two nerds, for God's sakes. So, yeah, that is my bad, man. The Eames chair is very, very dangerous. I don't understand how people can actually finish a movie in it. But, yeah,
I can because I'm too tall for it.
It's a challenging chair.
All you little people and your comfort in that Eames chairs. I'm so jealous.
But yeah, I am still thinking that I'm going to change the panels from smoked oak to walnut on these, but to actually match them proper. But it might happen here. It might happen in Florida. I don't know. I'm not really too keen on messing around right now. So I might even sell them and buy 50s. Depends on how sick I get from moving them again, because that's the time I consider selling them. So when my lease expires and y'all interested, that's the time to make offers, because I would be the only time that I would ever consider them. Once they're out of the box, fuck off. I'm not selling them because they're mine. But when they're in the box, it's a different story.
So that's how it goes, eh?
Yes, moving them is a tabarnak. So
yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Anyway, I'm gonna call. Don't forget to check out these guys if you're interested in aluminium covers for your 8s. I promise you, these things are pretty excellently made. If it's not your thing, it's fine. Just have a gander. Come join our Discord if you haven't yet already.
I also posted in the chat the level walnut cover part number if you guys want to grab it from your dealer, order it. Walnut level cover is available now.
If you come with the part number, you probably know more than your dealer.
That's it.
Leave
Lock and load.
leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next week.
Thanks for watching. Bye.